into the mid-50s. Can't rule out a late shower. For Thursday, breezy with showers and storms likely for the afternoon and evening. Some of those could be strong with more sunshine Friday. Spring has sprung, and Glass Farm Nursery is now open with a huge selection of Kimberly Queen sun ferns, only $12.99, and a large assortment of tropicals. Glass Farm, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Do you know how you can tell you've been in radio many, many, many years, Bruce?
How's that?
I got to crank these headphones up. I mean, I don't know how in the world these guys even hear with them so low. Let me see. There you go. That's about 95% right there.
Oh, great. Great.
Remember when your parents would say, "Turn down that music. You're going to lose your hearing."
And you are, right?
Yep. Here we are.
Well, I'm not. So I've never been through the music thing. So
I like to say, young man, can I start a franchise for hearing aids?
there's a lot of them.
There are franchises to do your own?
Absolutely.
Now, that would kind of interest me since I think I have auditory deprivation. Some people call it selective listening.
Yeah,
or hearing.
Yeah, definitely. You have that.
But that's interesting that in the franchise business, and Bruce Krebs is the man. He is the entrepreneur source. And this hour is the Entrepreneur Hour. We're going to be discussing how you could become finally independent and with no money down, own your own business, make lots of money, and then retire with some money in the bank and be healthy and happy and so on and so forth. But you control your destiny. That's what this hour is about.
Absolutely.
Every other Wednesday with the Entrepreneur Source and Bruce Krebs. As far as hearing is concerned, auditory deprivation is about not necessarily the level being low, but not understanding the words. Am I correct?
I don't know. I've not had that problem.
Oh, you haven't heard anything about? Okay, auditory deprivation is when you can't understand the words.
Huh.
So you can hear fine, and all of a sudden you're getting in an argument because you thought somebody said something they didn't say. That's auditory deprivation.
Huh.
So there you go. If you want to get in the hearing aid business, call Bruce Krebs, the Entrepreneur Source. That's because I deal with so many clients. Like I get to find out everything about everything.
That's true.
Little knowledge is dangerous, though.
Absolutely.
I want to welcome aboard. You want to call it? What's that? What's the new cleaning service to get rid of that black mold? What is it?
Pure Clean.
Puro Clean's our new cleanser ever, Pure Clean.
All right.
That's is that an Entrepreneur Source thing?
It is. Most definitely is.
Yep, and that's our brand new client. And in some instances, they will actually allow you to use your homeowner's insurance, depending.
Yeah, I mean they take care of. I mean, if you have a drain backup, if you have a dishwasher overflow, a water heater, and a pipe burst, I mean, you got water all over your house, or you have a kitchen fire, or I mean, any kind of fire, water, smoke, but also mold. I mean, do you know that there's mold in every home in Chattanooga, Tennessee?
I believe it.
Because there's mold spores everywhere, and when you add a little bit of moisture, humidity, and you add a little bit of heat, as it gets warmer, that black mold starts growing in your crawl space under your house, and all of a sudden your kids start getting sick and coughing, and you start getting sick. You think you're getting colds, you got allergies. What you really have is basically black mold, and it will not go away.
It'll kill you.
It'll kill you. You can't spray bleach on it. Bleach doesn't kill it. It actually feeds it because bleach is 99% water. And people think you can use vinegar and all kinds of things.
Not going to work.
But it's not going to work.
No.
And so it's best to have a licensed technician come out and give you a free estimate and let you know what it's going to cost to remove it. And there's a 1-year warranty. And there's also air certifications so that they guarantee that it's removed. So it's something people have to look at. It's even in new construction, Sab. It isn't just existing
I'll tell you what,
homes.
it's cheaper than going to the doctor. And I think we have it where we live because when I get to the house, I'm like, and when I leave, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I get that in Chattanooga anyway.
A lot of pollen.
With lots of pollen, but especially inside the house. And the reason why everyone has mold in their house is what? Because of the age of the homes primarily? Or
no, just because there's mold spores in the air.
Well, it's just so wet here, too. It's just wet.
It's humid and it's there's mold spores, and we're it's kind of we're a greenhouse here because of the humidity and the heat.
But Pure Clean is one of your franchise outlets, is it not? So you've
been in business for 25 years. They have 350 franchisees. a local franchisee, of course, here, and takes care of fire, water, smoke, mold, and both residential and commercial.
What is the phone number? May as well just give that
phone
out.
number is 423-875-6136.
Give that one more time.
423-875-6136.
You can always get these numbers too from Hot News Talk Radio at gmail.com. It's so easy. Hot News Talk Radio. You plug that into Yahoo, Gmail, your internet, Hot News Talk Radio. We're there, and we'll answer your questions. Did you ever hear mold speak?
No.
Because it's a living thing.
No.
It does speak. I have proof. Listen to this. We took our little microphone down, and we actually have mold speaking. Here you go. Here's what it sounds like. Ready?
Okay.
We're going to kill them all. We're going to kill them all. Let them cough. Let them wheeze. Let them sneeze. We're going to
Sounds like a gremlin.
every one of them.
We're going to stop you dead in your tracks. Boy,
You love that commercial, don't you?
You like that?
You like that commercial. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love the mold talking.
That's right.
Did you ever see the commercials where the bugs are talking, the raid? That's where I stole that from.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to kill them all.
Well, you
Kind of like an orchid commercial, right?
well, you could picture the mold going,
Yeah, we're going to kill it.
little what is it called? What I don't know if they're one cell, but these little tiny, almost invisible
Amoebas,
creatures.
yeah.
Amoebas, yeah.
We're going to kill them all, you big humans. And stay in the house. Don't call Pure Clean. Go ahead. Just keep coughing. Keep whizzing. Go to the doctor. Let them pretend you'll think you have asthma, but all along, we're killing you.
It's true.
It's got to be a little crazy to do this. But
It's a bad problem.
But that's Pure Clean. And all joking aside, it is very serious.
Yep.
I've known individuals that have gone into business trying to kill this stuff with all sorts of wacky machines.
Yep.
And it
Doesn't
doesn't work. Doesn't work.
No. You need a special chemical to kill mold. And, people wipe it off. They spray their bleach or vinegar on, and all of a sudden it comes back. And like a few weeks later, all of a sudden it's growing there again. There's
Right.
only one
Right.
chemical that kills mold.
And Pure
Kills
Clean
mold.
has that.
That's
and
correct.
will
There's
certify
one
and
chemical.
guarantee it. It is in your house.
Right.
It is you know how I know it's a deadly killer? My niece in Philadelphia she almost went into cardiac arrest. It was so bad, but they couldn't see it. But the homes there are 150 years old.
Right.
So it was actually in the basement. It almost killed her.
Yeah, I mean, if you have mold, a lot of times you can't see it, but when you look up under your rafters in your crawl space in your basement,
Yeah.
and you see something either white or black growing on that wood,
Yeah.
you have a problem. Or if you start coughing and your kids are
Right.
coughing or your
Right.
eyes are red, most people think it's allergies, and it isn't.
Right. And it's not just the northern thing, because I can picture the Georgian going,
Well, that's good. That's a good way to kill the Northerners now. We didn't win. And now we got you with the mold because your house is 200 years old.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
Because
It's serious.
I'm a
And it's
Confederate
in
at heart.
It's in new construction, too.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's really bad. But I mean, when they remove mold, the technicians have to go in and put Tyvek suits on, have air respirators,
Right.
and basically they have to spray the chemical on it, remove the mold. Then
It
they
could
have
be
to
in your
spray it
ducting
again.
system too,
Oh,
can
yeah.
it not?
Well, your ducts have to be clean too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But it it has to be wiped down, removed, and it has to be sprayed again to kill it. But the entire area has to be misted with this chemical. So it kills all the mold spores in that area.
Right.
I mean, it's serious. Very
And
serious.
I don't want to belabor it, but I know how serious it is. And I know in this area, speaking with doctors, the issue of children they think asthma
Right.
and breathing. And I tell them, it's mold.
Yep.
I guarantee you it's not free. It's not asthma. All these kids can't have asthma.
No.
When we were growing up, no one had asthma.
That's right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And now these kids are going, it's mold. Seriously. Just give the number out one more time, Bruce.
423-875-6136. And,
It's free.
it's free.
The free consultation, you come in, your insurance may pay for it. And as far as I know, they cannot raise your homeowner's insurance.
No.
And there's a group called Public Adjusters, I believe, that will also help you out with insurance claims if you need that.
Mhm.
And they just take a percentage. They don't
Yes.
even charge you.
Right.
but there's public adjusters there because if it's a situation where you have bad black mold and the insurance company's going,
Well, I'm sorry. I realized you paid $40,000.
and that's another scam, by the way.
They write mold out of a lot of policies.
Well, not only that, you should get all of your money back with 10% on your homeowner's insurance and your car insurance. What a scam that everyone pays 100% auto insurance and car insurance and don't use it.
Right.
That's like the mafia. Hey, I'll tell you what there, Bruce. Give me a couple $100 a month and we'll make sure your house doesn't burn down.
Right.
And you never get your money back.
Yeah. What most people don't understand, though, about the mold thing in insurance is if it's caused by, as an example, a leak in your pipe under your sink.
It's
or
covered.
A leak in your toilet. Yeah. Or a leak in your roof.
Right.
Or something. It's covered.
Roof?
Exactly.
What are you from the Midwest?
Yeah,
Roof?
Exactly. Well, what kind of
I'm
saying?
kidding.
Yeah,
Roof.
exactly.
Roof. You
Roof.
said roof. That's okay. I teach
Well,
you.
I'm going to get you to go get a buggy.
A buggy. Oh, I heard that. I heard when I first moved there, I heard buggy 4 years ago. I was on the floor for an hour.
Exactly.
What is a buggy? It's a car.
Exactly.
But and I tell you what, I wouldn't suggest you bust the pipe to create the illusion that it was
No.
the water.
No.
Don't do that.
No.
That would be the wrong thing to do. Right?
Absolutely.
So don't do that for the insurance claim.
No.
I don't suggest you bust the pipe and say it was the leak. Don't do that.
No.
Not a good idea.
No.
All right.
No.
So you made the magazine. Can I see the magazine?
Sure.
Bruce Krebs is our guest, the entrepreneur source. And if you've been listening to us, which I know you have been for many, many weeks. Oh, thank you. You know that Bruce made Edge magazine. Why aren't you on the cover?
Well, they did it. Edge magazine is put out by the Chattanooga Times Free Press here.
Yeah.
And every month they put out this magazine, very well done, and they run feature articles on basically things they think they'll interest the general public here. And
But you're better looking than this guy.
I know.
He's got to lose like
Absolutely.
me. He's got to lose like
on the front cover,
50 pounds. And
But they did a feature on franchising, and they did a nice feature on franchising, and they did a nice picture of me. And 3 of my clients were interviewed that I've helped into business here.
Right.
And they also actually did a very nice job of putting together some statistics in the fact that 99.7% of all jobs that are created in the United States and locally are by small business. Right. And that's the engine that fuels the local economy, basically. And you know, the writer, the editor of Free Press here, Dave Flesher, and the writer Mark Kennedy, just did a great job because basically they're talking about how to grow our economy, how to basically help people in being self-employed. And there's a lot of people today that either are unemployed, they're underemployed, they're working as contract employees, they're 1099. They don't like their boss. They're not making enough money, and they want to at least look into doing something on their own. And to just look at the majority of my clients come to me, Sab, and they say, listen, I just want to learn what's out there. Now, I can help people learn what's out there. So if you ever want to make a change in your life, you'll understand what are the kind of things that are right for you. Now, there's another dynamic that's going on right now, and that is that maybe you don't like your job, and maybe you're only making $45,000 or $50,000 a year, but you want to keep that job. And there's actually some opportunities, and you and I have talked about a couple of them, where you can actually keep your job and do something 10 hours a week and get great incremental income. So there's things that are passive, semi-passive. And again, nothing's too good to be true and nothing is too easy, but there is opportunities that if you have 5 or 10 hours a week after work or on a weekend, that you can make great incremental income in a simple business. Now, here again, you know, if you're listening today and you want to meet and talk, I can give you those kinds of ideas. So at least you have a plan B in your life, but there is simple opportunities out there. And I think that's another thing that's so important to realize is that when I show a client businesses today, what I always recommend is find a simple business for your first business. Not a lot of overhead, retail, food, infrastructure, fixed expense every month, employees. Start with a simple business and give yourself a PhD in business ownership and starting your business and getting it up and running and making money. Simple businesses without the overhead, and that's the service sector. are a critical thing for me to believe, because I mean, you got a radio station, you got all these towers and employees and all these monitors. I mean, you've got monthly infrastructure, and that.
You want to know how to make a small fortune in radio?
Sure.
Start with a big one.
Yeah. Or lose a fortune, right?
Only crazy people do this.
That's right.
But instead of spending $40,000 or $50,000 for school to get a BA, I'm telling you, start your own business. You will learn business much quicker. You'll learn it on a real level in that particular market than you could ever learn by going to college. I'm sorry. Unless you intend to work for a major corporation, if you want to own your own business, the best way to do it is through the franchise system, because it is a proven model. You will learn more and you'll be making money. And on top of that, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah,
I mean, you can get $150,000 on your signature. You're just paying back the interest. You have nothing to lose. You start a corporation, costs a couple $100. You control the corp. If it goes belly up, the corp goes away, which it never goes belly up because you have a 96% success rate. And on top of that, you can always sell it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, today, the reason that small businesses are such a great growth rate and why franchising is increasing at 6% a year is simply because there's never been a better time to open your own business, because the franchisors, as you say, are going to give you a PhD in their business. Even if you have a high school education or a few years of college or even college, they're going to give you a PhD in their business. They're going to give you training, ongoing training and support. They're going to do the R&D. But never before has it been so easy to get money, because, you have to pay a franchise fee and some startup, and you got to pay yourself through the startup for the first 3 months or 4 months or whatever it happens to be. But that's why, there's all different kinds of ways to finance your business today, including paying yourself through the startup. The easiest is the SBA loan that we talked about, where you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral, no money down, with a 10-year amortization and no prepayment penalties. But there's also all kinds of wonderful programs available on Bullfly and crowdfunding and all different kinds of programs that are available. And as an example, you look at the crowdfunding that was never really here before.
Right.
And an individual I know, he's a hedge fund manager. He has $96 million in money from his clients that want to make more than, what the minimum interest kind of thing.
Well, you can make interest today. I mean, it's going to be negative interest.
Yeah. So basically, when you look at the fact that, returns may be 2 or 3%, he has $96 million earmarked. And yeah, you're going to pay 7 or 8% for it. But there again, there's no money down, there's no pledge of collateral, there's no personal guarantee. And so many people are going the route of crowdfunding, which is because today investors want a better return on their money. Yeah, so there's so many different ways to get money today. That used to be the barrier to entry, and that's not true anymore.
And let us say, if you have money sitting there, you're losing money.
True.
Because if you think you're making money at 3%, the goal of the Federal Reserve is to inflate money by 3% a year. So you're breaking even. That house that cost $10,000 in 1968, that's $300,000 now, is no more valuable in 1968 than it was today. It's the devaluation of the currency. So if you had $10,000 back in 68 and you sat on that money, your money was devalued by hundreds of percentage points. So if you sit on your money, you're losing money. And the only way to make it, there's only one way to make money if you've got it. You have to be in business. You have to invest. Well, there's no other way. I mean, stock market, yeah, but you may as well. Yeah, let's go to Atlantic City and gamble if you want to use the stock market. Go to Las Vegas.
I'd rather put it on black or red in Las Vegas. But you're absolutely right. Besides being able, if you look at the positive attributes, besides being able to make money, your business is going to pay for your car insurance, your gas, your repairs, your cell phone, a lot of your expenses. And you're going to have an equity build.
Maybe even where you live if you use it for business, depending on how much you use it.
Oh, you definitely can. Absolutely. Yeah. Your home office is
your home office, sure.
But you have an appreciating asset. So people will say, well, I'm going to buy a house because it's going to appreciate in value. If you buy a house today for $200,000, 5 years from now, it's still going to be worth $200,000 or $205,000. Where if you buy a business for, call it $50,000, and you're making $100,000 a year, that business is going to sell for 3 times pre-tax profit, $300,000.
3 to 8 times, right? 3 to 8.
At least. So people don't understand the equity build piece of a business, and that is a major. There's no better way to save money than the equity build of your business.
Right.
When you want to cash out and sell it, put all that money into your retirement.
This is the Entrepreneur Hour. That's Bruce Krebs, the Entrepreneur Source. Bruce's number is
423-875-5621.
You can always get that number at hotnewstalkradio@gmail.com. Email us, call us at 800-8949. Just hold on one second. That's me smacking you on your head. Hold on, let me do it again. What are you doing sitting there? I mean, come on. How can anyone just work for a salary every week? You're stuck with $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 a week. That's it. That's all you ever make. You're going to die with that.
Well,
are you crazy? Hold on a minute. You got to wake up. And I tell people that. I talked to somebody the other day. He's like, "No, I'm sick of working for somebody. I'm going to go into business myself. I'm thinking about a Subway." I'm like,
"Oh, bad idea.
Are you crazy? You want to get into the food business and spoilage? Call Bruce Krebs." And look, I want to get to the nitty-gritty heart of business here, Bruce, because a lot of people don't understand these terms. First of all, you walk into Bruce's office, it's not going to cost you anything. He's going to give you a free education. What I love about this business, I get to talk to business guys, and I've gotten a free education for 40 years because people love to brag about their businesses. Here's how I started. Here's what I did. Here's how I'm making money. Here's how I intend to sell it. Here's my blah, blah. They love to talk about it. When you go to see Bruce, you're dealing with a successful businessman. It's free. He's going to explain to you the different options based on what your wants and needs are and give you a free education. Let's talk about some of these terms. We talked about amateurization. And we tend to use, I think, not only in this business, but in business lingo that the average person doesn't use or know because they just weren't educated and they weren't taught it. Like amateurizing over 10 years, which is a great thing. And is there a balloon in 5?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about exactly what that means so we don't scare people. Because a lot of these, like lawyers, love to use Latin. You know, Your Honor, he's in personam. I'm here pro se. Blah blah blah. Can we draft a petition for writ of habeas corpus? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Legalese.
Yeah. So let's talk about amateurization. What does that mean?
Basically means if you get an SBA loan for $100,000 or $150,000, it's just like a house payment. You know, when you get let's say you get a 15-year mortgage, and there's no balloon. If you get a 15-year mortgage and your house payment is $1,000 a month, then through the whole 15 years of your house payment, it's $1,000 a month. That's the amortization of your loan. All right. So that means that over 15 years, 12 months a year, your payment stays exactly the same. The SBA loan is exactly the same way. There's a 10-year amortization, which means your payment for each month, each year for 10 years is the exact same payment per month.
So let's take for $150,000. I'm starting a franchise business. Thank you, Russell. And it's $80,000 to get started. I've got $70,000 in the bank, which means I can pay myself for the first couple of years or first year, whatever. How much a month am I paying back on that $150,000 for 10 years?
Well, if you get $150,000, right now the payment's $1,620 a month, and it's each and every month. But there is no anytime you want to prepay that, pay it off. There's no prepayment penalties. Number one, and secondly, your business is going to make that payment. All right,
not you.
So you got to remember a key thing is everything when you're working in corporate America, they take out taxes, they take out insurance, they take out everything. And you're left with 70% of it or 60% of it. And then you go pay for things. You go pay for your car payment or house payment, whatever. When you're in business for yourself, all those expenses between a loan payment or your car or phone or whatever are going to be paid by the business. And it's all pre-tax dollars because they are also tax deductible. And most people don't understand that is a huge issue to help you make more money, save more money, and pay less taxes.
A lot of people don't understand depreciation and deductibility. And it's really very, very simple. Let's break this down to you to make it very, very simple and easy if you haven't been in business. If you have a corporation, let's say it's an LLC or a subchapter S, which is a small corp, you don't own the corp. Nobody owns corp. But you can be president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. You control it. But the corporation is a living, breathing entity. It can sue and be sued. You have limited liability for debt, so you're protected. And now this corporation, let's say, leases the car instead of you. So instead of you making the $350 car payment, because remember, you're getting 70% of what you earned. Now you have to make your car payment. Now you have to make your house payment. Now so on and so your phone payment. The corporation owns the car because it's doing business with the car. It makes the car payment.
Correct.
The corporation makes the cell phone payment.
And the car insurance. And
business
repairs.
lunch, so on and so
Gas.
forth.
Yep.
Gas. Now, at the end of the year, if there's a profit or gain, you're taxed on the product. It's washed to you. The head of the corporation, you get that money washed to you. Let's say it's $100,000, and that profit or gain is what is taxable. But the key is to let the corporation legally and lawfully pay as much of the expenses as possible so you diminish or lower your tax liability. Where am I wrong?
Well, you're right to a point. Your business is going to pay all your business expenses and the majority of your personal expenses. Loan payment, car, gas, whatever,
right.
and a lot of other things that you can deduct. Now, if your business makes $100,000 a year, you're going to take that money as a draw. Your business will never technically make any money. You will pay no taxes on your business.
And that's the way it's set up, by the way.
Correct.
Subchapter S's are set up in this LLCs
Just flow through
to never make money.
Right. And a banker understands it because you get a K1.
Right.
Your K1 shows that you made $100,000.
Right.
But you're going to take that as income. Then what you're able to do, and this is a very key point, because when you're self-employed, you're going to pay a lot less in federal taxes. So let's say that you made $100,000, and this is after the business paid you a lot of things that maybe you took $40,000 in deduction. So you probably made $140,000.
Right.
Now there's $100,000 left after paying all that. Now the key thing is you have $100,000 income, just like you do from a corporate employee today. But now you'll take your personal expenses that the company didn't pay for. Now there's a critical point, and that is that when you're self-employed, you can put $57,500 a year into an IRA. It's called a mini K, a key.
No tax.
No tax. When you're self-employed, you're going to take and put whatever the up to $57,500
right.
into an IRA.
Right.
Now your tax liability becomes $43,000 less your personal expenses. Let's say the interest you paid on your house and taxes and so forth. And all of a sudden, instead of paying taxes on $140,000, at 30%,
paying taxes on $30,000.
No, be $42,000.
Right.
So instead of that, you're going to pay taxes of about $5,000 to $6,000.
Right.
That is a tremendous savings of money in your pocket legally by owning your own business.
Right. You're not going to pay taxes of $5,000 or $6,000. You're going to pay taxes on $5,000 or $6,000, which is probably going to end up being around a couple $100.
Yeah. So most people just don't understand the real benefits, and
people don't believe this, but you have to hear. This is the way, and I learned it from the School of Hard Knocks too. This is how the big corporate guys make their money. It's how businesses make their money. You could bring in $150,000, your business, pay almost all your expenses, take $100,000 for yourself, put most of it in an IRA, deduct even more. And guess what? With $5,000 or $6,000, you're ending up with a few $100 legal, lawful tax liability. People will go, oh, how do you get away with that? My whole life, my mom and dad told me I had to pay FSCA, Social Security. I end up with 60% of my paycheck. Then by the time I make my car payment, time when I make my house payment, time that I make my cell phone bill, time that I go out to eat, I don't have anything left. Because you were conditioned into that. You were conditioned at the turn of the century. The elite, the money men, made a decision that government schools, public schools, were going to condition you to be sent to guys like us that own businesses. They're going to churn you out. You're going to know how to do the books. You're going to know how to produce commercials, to produce widgets, so on and so forth. So at the end of the week, we send a portion of what you produce to the government. We give a portion to you, and you're just happy to collect that paycheck.
But, if you pause on that, if it's just like I met with a client this morning, and he's making $45,000 a year, and he's just getting married, and he's in his early 40s, and when we do a kind of a financial projection about making that kind of income, and just getting married, and she has a daughter, and being able to buy a house, pay for college, pay for a wedding, save for retirement, the numbers don't work. There'll be no money there when you retire. They don't work at all. And that's a key thing to think about, is you really have to think about, you've got 20, 23 years to work and save for retirement. But if what you're making is barely covering your fixed expense, and you're not saving for retirement, let alone saving period, you've got to go to plan B. You've got to do something either full-time, part-time, or passively to generate more income today. And you know, people just don't understand that. How can I save enough for retirement? Well, you definitely can, because of the tax savings we've talked about. And I should also mention there's another tax saving issue that anybody I talk to doesn't realize it. Most people think that your IRA or 401k you can't touch. Well, let's just say that you have $100,000 in your IRA or 401k. Under a plan called an ERSOP, which stands for Entrepreneurial Rollover Stock Ownership Plan, you can take that money and technically buy stock in your own company. You can pay a franchise fee, pay your startup, pay yourself a salary. All right. Now, under that corporate umbrella, when you take that money from your IRA or 401k, you'll pay no taxes, you'll pay no penalties, and you'll never have to pay the money back. So if you can make $100,000 a year by using $100,000 a year from your IRA, you're getting 100% return on your money for the rest of your life. But here's the really neat thing. Under this program, which is fully approved by our U.S. government, started 13 years ago, and the IRS, the profits of your corporation are going to go into that corporate entity and are shielded from taxation because they're technically in your IRA. And if you sell the business for $1 million in 10 years, that also goes into technically your IRA and is shielded from taxes. Now, most people don't understand this, and this is one of the things I help educate my clients about. But it even goes into a health savings account kind of thing for your business, where it can be paid for out of your IRA. But if you look at all the profits your company makes, plus the equity bill when it's sold, are shielded from taxation legally, that is something you better take the time to at least learn more about.
Right.
People are not aware of that.
You don't have to be afraid of this. And I understand the fear of starting something new, because Bruce and I are talking about me going into another venture. And I'll say, well, this is vending machines. I've always been intrigued by them. Mm-hmm. I figured there's not much you can do. You hire someone to stock them and they sit there and they just make money. And unfortunately, in the Philadelphia area, in that Northeast region, it's controlled by organized crime. So it just is. That's a fact. That if I were to put a vending machine somewhere, somebody would have broken nose would show up and go, "What are you doing with your vending machine there? You know, that's and Angelo's. You know that, right?"
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Well, you know, the best thing you can do, because you don't want a broken vending machine, is get rid of that. So we can break the vending machine or break your legs, and then the vending machine goes. But it's less like that down here. And no, the federal government did get rid of organized crime. They just work with them now. That's just the difference, as the CIA did with Kennedy. But so, I mean, that's the reality of it. But down here, it's a little different, where you have a vending machine franchise, and I'm looking into it. My fear has always been, I've done radio my entire life. Anytime I've ever tried to step out of that comfort zone. So understand where you're coming from as an employee. It's a comfort zone. Even though you're living with a limited means every week, you're comfortable in it. And I'm almost there to step out of my comfort zone of radio, which I've only ever done, and go, you know what? And it's not about money. It's about the comfort zone.
Right.
You know, do I feel confident enough to do anything else but yap? You see what I'm saying? And you just have to take the plunge. I mean, really, we all, you and me, we have to take the plunge and go, Bruce is going to be there. He's going to hold our hand. He's done this for many years. He's confident. He's successful in what he does. And in the end, if you decide somewhere down the line and really want out of it, there's always going to be somebody there to buy it because you built it. It's like a radio station. If you just take the license and you put computers in and you build it up and you get a client list, you're going to get multiple amount of money compared to what you put into it. And it's no different with that. If you can show, okay, we went from nothing to something. Now we have 10 vending machines, and these are producing X amount of dollars a month now because they're in a place. It becomes that much more valuable. You will never, ever lose money. At the worst, you may break even or make a little bit, but I can't see how anyone can lose money.
No, you can't. You really can't. You absolutely can't.
And you don't have to know business to do this. Let's tell people this, that if you're one of these guys, always have an idea. Oh, I think I can do it this way. Think I can do it that. You're maybe not the best person to be a franchisor, right, or franchisee. The person that really this works well with is the individual that's willing to learn and that can follow a system.
But let's
talk about the
this.
system.
Let's talk about the vending machine. That's a business opportunity, not a franchise. You don't pay royalties because you buy those machines.
Right.
Now
right.
they give you the sources to where to get the products. They show you how to fill them. They've got the technology to run it. They will even get you your accounts. In schools, in particular, a wonderful location.
But you don't have a franchise fee.
There's no franchise fee. You're
okay.
going to buy the machines.
Right.
They're yours forever. All right. And there's great tax savings because they depreciates like a piece of equipment. But they show you how to fill them, where to get the product. They got national agreements with the with where you go get your product, whether it be water or healthy vending snacks or whatever. And they have all the technology to do it. They find you the right place for it, get the contract. Wherever the machine is, they get 15%, which is built into it. You just go fill them, all right? Or have a college student fill them. You keep your full-time, if you're happy with your $45 or $50 or $60,000 a year and just want to make literally that much in incremental income.
For doing nothing.
For 5 or 10 hours a week or paying someone to fill them, that's the kind of thing that I refer to as a semi-passive investment. And so if you have 10 hours a week, you can go into that kind of business and make great incremental income. And you're right. In 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you want to sell it. People are going to buy that business for a multiple of pre-tax income plus the value of the depreciated value of those machines. That is the lowest risk thing that any human being can possibly do.
And I'll tell you what, once you start your own business, it becomes addictive. You can't, I've tried to get out several times. It just becomes very addictive. The action, building something, being in control of your own life. I started my own business at 13, buying and selling radio equipment. And it was about the thrill of doing that. You know, once you do that, you're away from the chains of being an employee. Because, you know, initially in our constitutional republic, everyone was supposed to own their own business. Mm-hmm. That the only employees that were supposed to exist were basically individuals that were learning the trade.
They were apprentices for the blacksmiths and
you were the apprentice. Yep. You were learning the trade. And then after you were done apprenticing, you would start your own business after so many years. It was never meant to be, an employee was never meant to be anything that was lifetime.
Right.
That you'd learn enough in that trade, then you'd step out, and everyone, that was the vision of the founders, everyone would have their own business. Everyone would supply a good or a service. I mean, how can a country like that, oh man, it would be unstoppable.
Well, but if you really step back and look at it today, being in corporate America is scary. Now, why do I say that? If you look at the jobs numbers every month, there's about 5 million people that are either getting fired or quitting or retiring. Now, right now, there's 144 million people in our workforce. That means that about 65,000 people a year, close to 50% of our nation, every year is getting fired, laid off, downsized, capsized, or they're quitting or they're retiring. Now, when you look at that number, the average number of jobs that you're going to have between the age of 30 and 65 is 18 jobs. And when you get over 45, you're going to be out of work for an average of a year.
Right.
All right. Now, all around us, we see companies that are letting people go, particularly if they're over 50. That's just a reality of today. We see it here with TVA and Blue Cross and
too expensive to keep them.
People are getting replaced by younger people. Yeah. All right, period. So what you're really talking about is controlling your own destiny, and even starting dip your toe in the water. Start something part-time, like we just talked about, and give yourself that experience before you step out into something even bigger in the future after you save some money, make some money, or whatever it is. But the whole point is that corporate America, there's no loyalty. And the figures that were just put out yesterday in Wall Street Journal, they surveyed the 500 CEOs of the top 500 companies, and 74% of them said they were laying people off this year. That's scary to me.
Let's talk about why they're doing that, Bruce, because you went to China. You worked for a company that outsourced. This is back in the 90s. And I don't want to scare people, but let's give them a realistic picture, because I think when individuals are given the truth and the real picture, they make the right decision. Individuals will make the right decision. So tell our 45, 50-year-old guy, tell him what the reality of the situation is, thinking that manufacturing is coming back. It's not. Now, FedEx is going to put a big plant there, but they're not going to be making widgets. It's probably going to be jobs that are maybe 15, 20 bucks an hour. And, by the time you pay your bills and taxes, you're done. But let's talk about the manufacturing sector of America, where people made real good money, where dad alone could bring home one paycheck and the entire family was fed, kept well, and he could even put money in the bank and retire. America has changed vastly since the 50s. Vastly.
Well, yeah.
You have the experience. Tell us about manufacturing, where it's gone, is it ever coming back, and how you can have security in what you do as an entrepreneur.
Well, if you look at manufacturing, we went through an agricultural society and then a manufacturing society. Now we're in a technology society, and if you look at the technology is causing businesses to let more people go than any factor. Manufacturing itself now is down to 9.6% of our population is working in manufacturing.
It's not coming back.
And it's not coming back. It's going away more and more. And if you look at manufacturing today, perfect example is that plant that's making steel up in Gary, Indiana, a U.S. steel plant that 5 years ago had 30,000 employees. Today has 5,000 employees, putting out 30% more, and it's because of technology. That's really what's happening. So technology is eliminating jobs. The jobs that are being created, like Amazon, Volkswagen, or you just mentioned FedEx, those are $10, $12, $15 an hour jobs.
Right.
Where you're never going to get to where you want to be in life with those kinds of jobs. But manufacturing continues to go away. And all you hear about is China and Mexico and so forth. I saw that firsthand. I saw a Chinese worker with a 60-hour work week making 10 cents an hour with no benefits. Now,
but let's say they were happy because
very happy.
They were living in a mud hut and barely eating and making probably 10 cents a month.
But they didn't know any better.
But they were happy.
No, they didn't know any better. So basically under that situation, if you look at the apparel business that I came out of, making clothing, in an overall average, we were paying our operators, basically including insurance and benefits, $13.50 an hour versus 10 cents an hour in China or Taiwan or Bangladesh or Mexico's 50 cents an hour. You can't compete, period. All right. Now you've got the Chinese and you've got the Taiwanese and other countries. They're building plants in Mexico because they want access to our borders and close proximity. For us, 807 didn't work. Manufacturing in Mexico didn't work. We didn't know how to control it. We didn't know how to control the communications, the quality, keeping people. No one wanted to leave the United States and go live there. But we're seeing it in every sector of manufacturing. Right now, we're seeing cars that are being built. Plants are being built in China and other places, Mexico. And do you know that 50% of cars within 3 years are going to be coming from Mexico or a foreign country?
Doesn't surprise me.
50%.
Doesn't surprise me.
You look at the carpet industry here. They think they're insulated. All right. But a friend of mine who owns a company here making looms, for the last 3 years, every carpet loom, has been going over to China. It's always been semi-protected because it's heavy and bulky. Well, now with the 40-foot high-rise containers that can be here in 10 days, that's all changed. We're going to see dramatic decreases in manufacturing in the next 3 to 5 years because of what's happening in the world around us, and particularly in the Caribbean and Mexico and the auto industry. I mean, we're seeing plants like Caterpillar build plants in foreign countries, and then if you look at the value of the dollar, it's hurting us from an export situation, but it's wonderful from an import situation. So we're seeing radical changes in our world today that aren't gonna change in the significant future.
I'll tell you what, to insulate yourself from that, and we're going to look in our crystal ball and say, it's not going to get any better in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years when you decide to retire. You have to call Bruce. It's a free consultation. He'll sit down, explain the opportunities available to you. You could say yes or no. He's not taking money from you. You get paid by whom, Bruce?
I get paid by the franchisor, so I get paid like a headhunter. You never pay for my services in any way, Seb.
Right. So if we decide you show me this plethora of opportunities here, and I say, yep, I want to become maybe not a locksmith because you have that, but I want to sell hearing aids. I want to help people in that sector. You're going to explain that, what the opportunity entails, how to apply for the $150,000, with no collateral, no pledge or personal guarantee. Never heard of anything like that from the SBA. And it's going to take months. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Nope.
This is a system that's going to take what, 2 or 3 months?
It's going to take at least 3 months to go through this process and understand what's out there and what's out there that may be right for you.
You have a 96% success rate
in 5 years. For 5 years. Yep.
That's amazing. The Entrepreneur Source. Give everybody your phone number.
My phone number is 423-875-5621. And if you want to email, my email is Bruce, period, E as in Edward, period, Krebs, Krebs, at Comcast.net.
The easiest thing to do is just Bruce Krebs or Entrepreneur Source in Google.
Right.
And it pops up. I have to laugh when the union workers and the politicians and a lot of people that are indignant. They're so upset about these foreign manufacturers. We need to build in America again. But yet they want cheap cars. They want cheap clothes. They want cheap televisions. I look and say, how could you make a device like this for a few $100? How could high definition screen television? The technology involved in that is phenomenal for $400 or $500. If that were manufactured in America, it would be $2,000.
Right. Exactly.
It's not coming back. The only way it's coming back is if the government takes all the regulations off of business, because in China, guess what they do? They will give business a piece of land for 10 years. Here's the land. It's yours. Then they actually give them the land. You build the building. You don't pay taxes for 10 years because they want the company to pay people to work for them. They don't want to have to feed them.
Well, the other thing about China, though, to remember is half the plants are government owned and the other half are military owned. It's a totally, because it's a communistic structure. So basically, there's technically no free enterprise over there. You can run the plant, but you can't own it.
Well, it's just like America. You can pretend to own your plant, but you don't.
Right.
The bank owns it. You've got a mortgage on it through the Federal Reserve banking system that's controlled by the federal government, the EPA, OSHA, and all the other local lunatics that come around sniffing for a reason to fine you and make sure you can't produce what you need to produce until you're out of business.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's really, the American system today is actually less freer than I think the Chinese system, because at least you know where you stand there.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost better for the government to say, okay, we own it. Go run it. Instead of all these, I call them underwear sniffing organizations that come around saying, okay, we're from the EPA. We need to check this. We're from OSHA. We need to check that. And with what you're talking about, you don't have to worry about that.
No, they're all service business.
They're service business.
Yep.
And you get involved. Let me tell you, you can go online and Google franchises. There'll be a ton of people. You can make phone calls and they'll get you into the subways and so on and so forth. But you know what? You want the local inspector to come around saying, well, let me see. I've been a health inspector for a year now, and I'm fining you. Do you want OSHA to come around? Do you want EPA to come around? Do you want the Department of Labor to come around? You have an employee like that and they complain. Guess what? Department of Labor's up your butt.
Yep. Well, that's why I don't like retail and food and so forth. You don't need all those problems in your life. Again, it goes back to what we talked about. I'm going to show my clients a simple business that doesn't have overhead, but it's going to have repeat business. The franchisor is going to get you the majority of your volume through their search engine optimization or national accounts or pay per click.
Name some kind of business.
Technology, okay?
Machine gun me, shotgun me. Here's some of the businesses.
Well, franchises. If you look at this article, I got a client here that's in Flying Locksmiths. He owned a farmer's insurance agency before that, and the insurance business got too tough. So again, he hires locksmiths, but that's a sales and marketing business. So
and he 1099s them because they're private contractors.
Yeah, some of it's 90% of his business is business to business, not dealing with the local individual. So there's echo counters, there's detail experts, there's dental choice. There's all kinds of different things that people can go into, and that's what I can help people learn.
Call Bruce Krebs, Entrepreneur Source, Entrepreneur Hour. What's your phone number, Bruce?
423-875-5621.
Or you can always Google Bruce at the Entrepreneur Source. You'll find him everywhere on Google.
That's right.
He's like 3 or 4 pages deep when you Google Bruce Krebs. Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240, hotnewsradiotalk.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny.
Yesterday on the Herd.
Peyton Manning will opt to retire as a member of the Broncos. Actually, this is why Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning was told, we're going to rebuild without you. And for guys like Peyton Manning, he'll never forget that.
A new day in the Herd starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You guys can laugh at me all you want.
This is the Herd.
The Herd.
With Colin Cowherd.
I'm setting the tone.
This show on radio. This is the Herd.
Broadcasting live from Los Angeles. The Herd with Colin Cowherd starts